All right, I'm gonna throw tons of advice at you. As a wrestler, where do you get started? Obviously, if you're watching this and you're already ranked in the nation, you probably should just go ahead and turn this off. But there's so many kids, they just, high school all the way down to youth, or the parents or the coaches, they just don't know where to begin. My advice would be this. From a wrestling standpoint, you need to understand that wrestling has 4 components, right? We call those pillars. It's like the corners of a pillars, right? Or piers, I guess. Go down to the ground. Pillars, the 4 corners that can hold up a building. The piers, the pillars. There's 4 core areas that your whole wrestling career will be built around. Number 1 is your mental side of wrestling. Learning how to handle your thoughts and your emotions. Having a good perspective. Understanding that you need to wrestle like you're 100% control over the outcome, but obviously we know that you could roll your ankle on your way to practice tomorrow and your whole state championship or college wrestling dream can be gone. It's fragile. There's no guarantee. Be okay with that, right? So we have a phrase, our goal is to win 98%. Still very high. I'm not going to ever put a pressure on myself or my athletes to win 100% of the time, because it's not going to happen, right? So, get perspective from the mental side of things helps you to give yourself some losses. It's okay, right? It's okay. So, from the mental side of wrestling, you want to have perspective. You want to understand that I need to control my emotions, control my thoughts. I'm very high. I'm planning on being a high-level achiever. I know that in the end, some things may not always work out for me. That's okay, but I can run in there and, I can grab the gold a few times, right? I had a guy years ago say it's kind of like a trophy bass fisherman, right? You're only going to hook about, if you're hardcore, let's say you're only going to hook 6 or 8, 7 to 9 pound bass a year if you're hardcore, right? And you're only going to land 1 or 2 of those. So you're going to do a lot of work just to hook into a couple of those, and you're only going to land a couple, but your whole year is made because you landed 1 of those, right? So a good bass fisherman or a trophy hunter, if you're into deer hunting and so forth, you understand that the big ones are going to get away from you sometimes. But you can look back years ago and say, man, that big bass or buck I got 10 years ago, it's an important part of my life, right? Wrestling's much the same way. Sure, we want to win 4 state titles in high school, 4 national titles in high school, 4 NCAA titles in college, the Olympics a couple times, 10 world titles. Yeah, I get it. And, you can probably point to somebody over the past 80 years who's done some of those things. Very, very hard, right? Not that it can't be done, but you need to understand that being scared of the possibility that your dream may not come true ruins wrestling for a lot of us. I know it ruined wrestling for me in a way, and I had a pretty damn good wrestling career back in the day, right? But a lack of perspective causes panic. So we like to say, I'm going to score first, I'm going to wrestle tough, whatever happens, I'm going to score points every chance I get, whatever happens, happens. I like to tell my athletes to repeat that phrase, whatever happens, happens. I refuse, I'm going to do the best I can. If I hook a big bass, I'm going to do the best I can, but I know that a lot of things have to go right, right? A lot of things have to go right for you to win Tulsa Nationals as a kid, or high school state titles, or national titles as a high school wrestler, or some of your college wrestling dreams. And there's other people who are doing the right things too, right? So, the mental side of wrestling has a whole lot to do with perspective. A whole lot to do with perspective. But we also want to make a decision. We say people who win make a decision to win, which is true. The guy that just broke the 4-minute mile, he made a decision. I'm going to do this. There was a lot of planning that went into that. I would encourage you to watch that on YouTube. He totally planned on doing it. So we like to say, I'm expecting big things out of myself this weekend. My dad used to say, hey guys, we didn't come here to lose, did we? And I would say, nope. We'd turn the car off, we'd get out in the parking lot, we'd walk in the gym. It was so powerful back then to say, we are here to win. That is why we're here. But I know that I can do everything right and it still may not happen. Terry Brands, the Iowa coach, talks about that. You can do everything right and be very deserving and it still may not happen. And that's hurtful, but that's part of it. So we understand that side of life, but we focus on doing everything we can to win, and I wrestle like I'm 100% in control over the outcome. Even though I know that realistically I'm not, I still approach it like, if I don't win, it's my fault. If I want to be great, it's within my grasp. Boom, right? So, from a mental standpoint, that's a huge part of it. There's more, right? There's like 3 really facets, but that's the main one I've noticed that kids need help with. The second pillar or core area is positioning. If you get taken down 17 times in practice, you have problems. We say this, if I look at my wrestling match and my opponent took me down, fake elbow pass, got to my legs, scrambled, 38 seconds later got a takedown, I'm okay with that. The dude got me. But if I get taken down because I reached, because I circled my chest rose and I got scored from the outside, or maybe I'm forcing bad shots and I got scored on because I took 9 leg attacks and I got caught in the front headlock 5 times and taken down 3 times. I can't accept that. So positioning is so important. We say this, and I post some stuff online, I get bashed. It's funny, because I'm getting bashed by people who are caught in their own belief system, and they're just wrong, right? I'm not closed-minded, but they're wrong, and they're just wrong. It is better to win 2-0 than 12-10. If 22 points are scored in a match, that's not a great match. The fans might like it, but it's not good for a wrestler. It's like a Rocky movie. That is not good boxing, right? It's called a movie. It's a skit. You punch me in the face 97 times, and I punch you in the face 101 times, and I knock you out. Dude, it's sloppy, stupid fighting. Wrestling's the same way. So, it's best to win 12-0. But we know we're going to have a few close matches this year. So, I would rather win 2-0 than 12-10. Or even 8-6. So we want to try to keep the match under our control. If people get to your legs 7 times a tournament, something is wrong. So what happens is this. Here's another way of putting it. If I got taken down with 7 single legs this weekend, or 7 ankle picks, I'm not going to work on single leg or ankle pick defense. I'm going to say, why was someone in on me that many times to begin with, right? If I got taken down with 1 or 2 single legs and I only gave up my legs 3 times out of 5 matches this weekend, I'm okay with that. Now I'll work single leg defense. But the other thing, we are, dude, why is somebody on my leg that many times, right? The match is only 6 minutes. We're on our feet. 1 minute and 27 seconds. Holy cow. Every 38 seconds, someone's on your legs. You can't tell me that that's a good thing. So positioning, that's what it comes down to. Hand fighting and moving your feet. This is the third core area. You have to be able to wrestle with your hands and be able to move your feet. It's a lot of drill time will fix this. And don't just drill from inside ties. We have a hand fighting routine. Everything we do is a system. We even practice walking onto a mat. We practice body language. We practice shaking hands. We practice everything. right? No stone should be left unturned from a coaching standpoint. For us, it is not, right? We have a few talking points and mantras we repeat over and over and over and over because we're trying to indoctrinate the kids and so that they kind of understand the core concepts of winning. Because you can be really good at really bad wrestling, and it's going to cost you though. You never make the top, and you can get really good at really bad wrestling. Where's my train of thought here? You can get really good at really bad wrestling. Oh, and you can also score from someone getting in on your legs, or can score from sloppy shots. So you might be winning, but I want to be winning the right way, right? So as far as hand fighting is concerned, we have push, pull, hit, pick, post, pass, and fake. 7 core setups to wrestling. Some of our leg attacks, we use these setups. Some of them, we use these. You can't post and hit an ankle pick, for example, right? And if those of you who follow our online wrestling academy, you have all of this mapped out. There's a whole series of hand fighting to the legs. And if you put a couple of setups together, we have dynamic drilling. This will help you to hand fight to the legs. We call it wrestle to the legs, right? I might push, pull, score. I might hit and hold. I might circle, pull, post. There's a pull post. I might fake elbow pass. I might just hit an elbow pass. I may just hit you in the head and score, right? I may just wrist pick. I may circle, pick, pull. There's a pick and a pull. So wrist pick is how you stop people who are thumb blocking, right? So a lot of our hand fighting, push, pull, hit, pick, post, pass, and fake system comes off of what our opponent's tie-ups are too. Not just your tie-up, right? So once you have your good hand fighting routine and you're moving your feet, that's a skill. It's more of an athleticism thing that needs to be developed, right? Just like anything else. So we have the mental side of wrestling, primarily focused on understanding that there's no guarantees in the sport of wrestling and being okay with that. I'm going to wrestle smart and tough and mean. I'm going to score points. Whatever happens, happens, right? Positioning, hand fighting, and / moving your feet. And the best way to do that is through dynamic drilling, in my opinion. Fourth pillar or core area is technique. Now, we like to focus our technique around the most common positions. If you got a chance to shoot 600 free throws this year, you would say, holy cow, I'm going to practice free throws today. That would be smart, right? So, but what I do is, in the sport of wrestling, we try to look at the positions that are super common to a wrestling match. So the positions that are super common, I'm going to stand up, let's say 4 times a match. You're going to lock your hands behind me. You return me to the mat with a side lift or a back sweep. 2 best ways to return someone, which that's a common position too. I'm on top of you, you stand up, my hands are locked. That's a common position. But we're talking about me. I stand up 4 times a match, times 50 matches, 200 times this year. If I break the fingers, I get an escape. If I don't, I don't. You say, something goes off in your head. You go, ding, 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 ding. Holy cow, that's a common position. I need to spend some time here, right? So no, we're practicing a counter to a counter to a counter to a counter to a Russian 2-on-1. I learned this on YouTube. That's not a good use of your time. Once you're a famous high school wrestler and 6 famous college coaches are calling you and they're giving you a $150,000 bag of scholarship money, then you can worry about the small stuff. Right now, we have to start winning. At some point in time, I have to win. So we say, we have wrestling broken down into the best plus or minus 275 wrestling techniques. But obviously a post, a pick and a pull, some of our sets, hand fighting stuff, we consider a move, right? So it's not all technique as far as traditional stuff. But you look at the best 275 techniques, you break it down into 4 levels: basics, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Now we're learning wrestling like mathematics is taught, level by level. You're not going to do algebra 2 until you know how to do long division, right? Or at least 2 plus 2 comes first, right? You're not going to learn black belt wrestling or jiu-jitsu until you get through your white belt. You're not going to take a a level 4, 7-year-old gymnast and say, now let's do a double side flip on the balance beam. That would be silly, but we do that in wrestling all the time. Gymnastics is taught in levels. Martial arts is taught through a belt progression. Wrestling is taught now, well, since 2005, at least by me and our followers, through phases, 4 phases, right? And they're all built around the most common positions, and we divide up the best 275 wrestling techniques. So that's how you get started, is you understand, what am I signing up for? What is the sport of wrestling? Here you go. It's a mental game. It's a positioning game. It is hand fighting and moving your feet game, the athleticism of wrestling with the legs, and it's a technique game. And you want to kind of focus on the 80-20 rule as far as the technique is concerned, and you want to teach to your audience too from a coaching standpoint. So it's a 15-minute video. Should be pretty amazing for you. A lot of good content in there. Hopefully it makes sense. Good luck to everyone. We're at PurlerWrestling.com if you had interest in finding out what we do. We do quite a bit. I wrestled at Oklahoma State for John Smith back in the day, and been a full-time professional coach since 1999. Started the wrestling academy industry, and back then I was the first guy around, and so I've kind of been doing this a long time. But we have a lot of opportunity if you had interest. If not, we wish you great success. Good luck.